Hey bike farmers, thanks for clicking in. We've got ourselves a Trek 7000. This is made in America, right up the street here in Waterloo, Wisconsin. Aluminum Trek mountain bike. STX RC componentry, which is kind of mid-level 8-speed stuff from its era. Really nice bike, very durable. This thing is kind of a garage queen. This one came from the Trek store in Madison, probably the very first one. Started in the early 90s. I think this bike is probably from the 2000s. I think after they bought it, they hung it up and it's kind of been hanging ever since. It's got very little signs of use and a lot of signs of just sitting for a couple of decades. The creative bike farmer in me really wants to put upright handlebars, comfy saddle, and some more general purpose tires on this bike and turn it into an all-arounder type deal. Maybe even put on a 1x drivetrain or something like that just to make it super simple. But just because I think this bike is a good size for, a kid in town. Like, just about any 7th or 8th grader could fit on this bike, put the seat down, give them a chance to grow into it. It's a really nice mountain bike from its day, and it's good enough. It's got a RockShox Quadra fork, which these forks are bomb-proof and work really good for what they are. So I think I'm just gonna leave it as is. I'm even gonna leave the bar ends on this thing. Biggest challenge we have is getting these shifters to work again. They are dead, dead, dead. So I have different ways and different methods of doing that. These might be a little bit difficult to open up and get in there. I think we're gonna have to dive pretty deep into these shifters. That's gonna be the biggest challenge on this bike. Otherwise, it's a lot of cleaning, lubing, and probably not a whole lot of adjustment, but it's gonna be pretty straightforward except for those shifters, I'm hoping. So with all that said, I think this will be a nice little video. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, you can see that these shifters should go click and then spring back into action and go click and spring back into action, and they're just absolutely silent. All of the grease that's in there is gunked up over the years. So the first thing I'm gonna do is take some speed degreaser here. This is the heavy duty stuff, and just flood it, right? And yeah, you can see it's already coming right back to life. Look at that. Woo! So there's hope for this one. That came back a lot quicker than I expected. I thought they were total goners, but this has some clicking already. Okay, so do the same over here on the left side. See if that wakes up in this same way here. It's always that second click that really struggles. We might have to hit that with some heat or something, but for now, oh, it's wanting to. Yeah, just do that because like the vibrations hopefully will wake up the springs and the pawls that are in there. Oh, that was kind of fun. Ooh, it's excited. It's so exciting. Right out of the gates, things get dirty, huh? Okay, we're gonna let that sit for now. Come back to it later. Another thing I like to do is put air in the tires right away, and then we'll know kind of by the end if they've lost any air. I suspect it's been a long time since anyone's put air in these tires. Fill it up like halfway and just make sure that it's not gonna blow off the rim and, cause me to tinkle in my shorts, as one does when they're startled. All right, and how much air do I put in? A lot. That's how much. Make them firm. And then, per the usual, we'll just pop these wheels off. Set them aside. Checking out the top tube here, I'm thinking we're gonna start with the Dawn Power Wash. Squirt it down and polish that up. So I've got myself a medium dirty rag and some Dawn Power Wash. I just kind of cover the whole thing here. And this stuff does like to dry, so you kind of gotta wipe quickly. I just wipe everything down and this will get all that grime off. Hey bike farmers, I just wanted to take this lull in the action to let you know how much I appreciate that you've clicked in to watch this video. Now that I've been at it a little bit, I'm starting to learn why everybody's always asking for more. The AdSense money is just barely enough to make it worth starting a channel. If I want to sustain this for the long term, I'm gonna need everyone's help. Now don't get me wrong, your attention is enough. Don't feel obligated to give more, but I've tried to make it as easy as possible. You can always click the super thanks, that's the heart with the $ in the middle of it, or consider a monthly membership. The monthly membership will give you a little star next to your name, and if you have any questions, you can ask them in the comments. I'll see the star, and when I see it, I'll definitely give you an answer. You'll also have access to a little more behind the scenes action that non-members can't see. With all that said, thank you so much, and let's get back to some bikes. Yeah, you can see, immediate results. So it's not all dusty, but you see how that's kind of like matte. There's a bit of a film on there. If you take a clean rag then, do one of those, it's almost like a wax. So still quite a bit of cleaning to do, cleaning and polishing. I think we'll do another run with the furniture polish in a little bit. But it's shining up pretty good. So normally this is where I show you if you push the derailleur in like this, that you can disconnect the cable. And this is usually a slotted housing stop, but not on these bikes. On these early aluminum bikes like this, they had some different manufacturing challenges and apparently didn't put in slotted stops. So the slotted ones are on the top tube. So we're still gonna do this, but we're gonna disconnect it up at the top tube. So we're gonna push that derailleur in to create the slack, and then that can come out there. And then this way, we get access, or more access to the cables, so we can lube them. Just to show you what I'm gonna do here is just kind of bend things down and let gravity suck some of that lube down in there. And then back here, we'll do the same thing. It's pretty clean, there's no rust or anything. I don't feel any kind of grunge in these cable systems at all. So this is all just preventative maintenance at this point. We're not fixing anything. And like through here, just lube that a little bit. Move on up. Yonder. Looks like our front cable is already disconnected. Kind of came undone with the polishing. Back here, the rear cable, I'm able to just kind of pull it through and get to the spot. The front derailleur cable is really hard to get at here. It's like tucked back in here. Easy to get at. So I'm gonna futz with that and do the front brake as well. The front brake is gonna be challenging too. Yeah, we just can barely get enough to put a couple drops of lube in there. But like I said, everything's really clean. These early Trek bikes are really nice, the Made in America ones. Really very durable products. Now that I have access to this whole frame up here in the front, I'm gonna go ahead and polish it with my Behold furniture polish. This stuff is kind of magical for bicycles. Cleans, shines, and protects. You can just spray it right on the bikes and let it sit, and it, is almost like waxing it. It's like doing a color correction practically. So, the bike has just been sitting in that garage filth that's just caked on. So it's gonna be hard to polish it all off. A lot of elbow grease, I guess. Do the same up here. Just a little more detailed, involved polishing with a clean rag. Let that furniture polish take away the last bit of gunky filthy. That's what it was, it's gunky filthy. So I have a feeling we're gonna be doing this all along the way with this rag. It's gonna be a nice shiny one when we're done. Okay, so I got all of the cables lubed. Then we can put all of the housing back into its happy, happy homes. Everything's moving pretty smoothly here. Rear shifter's still working. Front one, still not getting into that third gear. That's the one that usually sticks, but I think we can pop the cap off and do some surgery. All right, let's dig into it, shall we? So we're gonna loosen the clamp and get this thing upside down. Okay, so we're gonna take this screw out. See, this is what I'm afraid of. Yeah, that undoes the whole thing. I don't want to undo the whole thing. I just want to take this cap off. I'm gonna try to maybe futz a little off camera. Let's see here. So the problem I'm running into here is I want to just back this screw out. Oh, there we go. Okay, so if you hold down on it and back this screw out, oh no, something in there is moving around now. Yeah, see, that's the risk. And I just, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. Now I don't know what to do. What do I do next? Oh man, shit just went south. Oh, you can get at it from the top, maybe. Oh no. Okay, so I figured out that if I pull up really hard on this lever, that I can still back the screw off and things don't slide around in there. So I'm reluctantly backing this screw off, or bolt out, I guess. Okay, but you can see I can kind of barely get access to things in there. So I've got the powerful degreaser here, and I'm spraying it directly on the pulse. I can actually see the pulse, and then I have a sharpened spoke tool here, and I can just get it. You know, this is definitely not something I would encourage DIY at-home mechanics to be doing, unless you're ready to buy new shifters. But there, I got a pawl, and I got it moving. Okay, I don't know if that's the one that's causing us problems or not. This one isn't quite as easy. Oh, there's one back here too. See if we can get that one moving. The first one I got moving right away. Okay, so with all that done, hopefully it goes back together. Okay, there's that. I get a lot of comments that people like to see me struggle and work through it. And look at that, I just struggled and worked through it. Sorry if some of that got off camera, but this is deep focus, and look at that, I'm getting all the gears. Hey, I win again. All right, we're gonna lift up on that and then tighten that bolt down. Okay, and then off camera before I remove this tiny little screw. Whew, man. There you go. See, that's shifter surgery. You know, the more you work it, the better off you're gonna be. You know, let that degreaser break apart that old grease. You know, that old grease becomes more viscous, and then we're gonna replace it. We'll squirt a bunch of one-step in there. I'm gonna do a little more flushing though. It helps if you can find different ways to get your nozzle from the degreaser to squirt in there. It can be easier on some than others. They don't want you know, dust and stuff getting in these shifter pods. So they close them up pretty good. Hey, that feels good as new now. Definitely not better than new, but good as new. Okay, that's enough of that for now. Okay, while the degreaser is sitting in those shifter pods doing its thing, we'll take a look at these wheels. So I just kind of spin them in the stand, and if you feel the stand, you can feel how smooth these bearings are. They're absolutely perfect. So if they ain't broke, don't fix it. I know the bike's been sitting, so you know, new fresh grease on those bearings might benefit things, but it's really not necessary. I think you can be just fine riding this bike. Wake that grease back up with friction. I'm not restoring these bikes. It's not a restoration. It's a reconditioning of sorts, a refurbishing. A little bit more than making them rideable. And a lot of times we do make them better than brand new. You know, if they've been ridden and they're past their break-in period, when you clean them and lube them and adjust them, I think that they're actually better than the day they were brand new. Once everything is settled into its happy home and found its mechanical limits. It's actually the second tune-up, I believe, that really locks a bicycle in for life. And then it's just a matter of wearing things out, which with proper lubrication takes a while. But you know, you have the original assembly of the bicycle where you hopefully have a trained mechanic or an experienced mechanic doing that assembly and setting everything up to give the bike the best chance at a long life. And then that first tune-up, the shop I started at, we called them 200-mile checkups. That's where you just kind of readjust everything and check all the bolts. And then usually that second tune-up, the third time it's touched by a mechanic, is when you're maybe replacing some cables or a chain and cassette, and perhaps adjusting hubs and maybe even adding some grease. But you can really solidify what that bicycle is going to be for the rest of its existence at that point. So with a lot of these bikes, like this is the first time this has been touched since it was assembled. A lot of times I get bikes that have been maintained once before, and you know, I'm setting them up for life. I think buying a used bike, a reconditioned at a shop by a mechanic used bike, is the smartest way to buy a bicycle. And if you're a mechanic yourself, just buying any kind of used bike and just making it good is a really good way to do it if you got the skills, which I hope to transfer some of my skills and knowledge to you with this channel. Give you the opportunity to do such things. So I just went through and cleaned things up and touched up the rim a little bit. This bike's in really good shape. We're gonna do the exact same thing to the front wheel. Right meow. Hey bike farmers, a quick note. If you're looking to get serious about fixing bikes at home, look no further than the Park Tool AK5 toolkit. I have an affiliate link in the description. This kit provides all the basic tools you'll need to tune up just about any of the bikes that you see on this channel. It also comes with the Big Blue Book of Bicycle Repair written by Calvin over at Park Tool. Also in the description are affiliate links for all the basic things that I use. The grease, the degreaser, the one step, the Dawn power wash, Behold. If you see anything else that I don't already have a link for, let me know in the comments so I can add it. I hope these affiliate links will help encourage you to take this on as a hobby or even start flipping bikes for a living like I do. I think I just finished up this wheel. Before I put the wheels on, and clean up that derailleur a little bit. Okay, time to turn it back into a bicycle, huh? All right, get that axle right up into those dropouts. I always like to drop a little bit of lube in the brake pivots on cantilever bikes or V-brake bikes. I mean, these are just so smooth. There's just no friction at all. So I probably don't even really need to, but just for good measure. It looks like it's pulling just slightly more from that left side. So I'm gonna just double check to make sure I have the wheel in the dropouts properly, because it doesn't make any sense to adjust a brake if the wheel's in crooked. And it's the same, so I'm just gonna add a tiny bit of tension to the tension screw on this side, which pulls that whole system over just a little bit. And we got her. I think that's one of the most satisfying sounds and feels in all of bicycle mechanics, is a properly adjusted cantilever brake smacking against a rim like that. Oh, that's so good. So good. Do the same treatment here to the front brake. I just kind of wiggle them to kind of help the lube do its thing. Man, I can't improve it. I'm not touching it. So I've got my semi-clean damp rag that's got all the good stuff on it. It's gonna be really hard to get the grunge off these boots, but I just kind of work my way in to the nooks and crannies with the rag and do some flossing. I mean, it's just very clean. It's a great bike. Up here on the shifters, I got compressed air. Dry them out. Now that they're all dried out, I've got one step, which is a cleaner and lubricant. It really, I mean, I may have been able to skip the whole degreaser portion and just gone with the one step on this bike, but those shifters felt way further gone than they really were. But one step is kind of magical. And just because these shifter pods are looking like they're graying, I'm just gonna spray them with furniture polish and let it sit. Maybe they'll turn black again. Let's move our attention to the back of the bicycle. Okay, I'm gonna lube the chain. This is just tri-flow. One step would have been fine too. That's not the right rag. Got a little bit of a drier, dirty rag here. Soak up all that extra gunk. All right. Wipe off the extras. Just make it look as good as possible. I'm gonna shift into the middle chain ring in the front. And now run through the gears. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm just kind of going by feel here, how quickly it shifts up and down. Paying attention to how it feels in the shifter, which feels great. Yeah, everything's absolutely beautiful. So if you shift up into the low gear, which is the big cog in the back, and then let's move you to the front derailleur. Okay, I'm in the middle chain ring on this crank, and I'm looking for rubbing on the inside of the front derailleur, and there is none. So I'm gonna shift into the high gear and back, which is the little cog, and I look for rubbing on the outside. I'm not getting any rubbing in either extreme, so that front derailleur is adjusted perfectly. So this bike was really set up well. there's really just not a whole lot more for me to do on this bike. You know, a little bit of wiping down. Everything is in good shape. You know, it hung and it was neglected, but it was neglected in a nice, probably attached garage. You know, it's been 54.5 degrees its entire life. And really, that's all it wanted was a little bit of love. I gotta say, I almost blew it with this shifter pod. I came really close. You gotta be careful, especially on this older stuff. It wasn't meant to be taken apart. I don't think anybody saw it coming that all of the rapid fire shifters and the clicky shifters from this era, I mean, actually it's all of them, are getting all gummed up and not working 20 years later. And they need to be flushed out and cleaned. And sometimes you can open them up and get in there and work the pawls mechanically or manually or however you want to talk about it. But sometimes you loosen the wrong bolt and the thing just explodes, and good luck getting it back together. It's happened to me. I happen to have bins full of old parts and like can sometimes find something that works, or maybe I got one of these in the bin somewhere. But I mean, my brain instantly was going down some weird roads and of what I could do with this bike. Because like I said, creatively, I kind of wanted to turn this into a comfort bike, maybe do a Q's conversion, something like that. But at the end of the day, I think this will make a really, really cool, like vintage first mountain bike for some kid to go bomb around town with his friends. And yeah, it's back in its day, it was a really nice mountain bike. You know, I mean, this was, you know, mid-level aluminum, but kind of getting towards the nicer stuff. You know, raceable, but enthusiast level mountain bike. And just because things have evolved so much doesn't mean it still can't be today. So that's what I'm hoping to do with this one. If you've watched this far to the end of the video, you've already done more than I'd ever ask of anyone. So thank you so very much. The algorithm loves it. It's good for the channel. That's the best way that anyone could possibly ever support me, next to the super thanks. The super thanks is just direct money in my pocket. It's like giving me a tip. It's like buying me a couple tacos. I love getting the super thanks. Being a monthly contributor through memberships, you know, $5-10 a month just keeps the train rolling, allows me to keep making these videos, and I'll keep making them as long as it's worth doing. So I enjoy it, and I'm just so grateful for all of you for watching. Number one thing you can do for yourself, though, is click that notification bell so you and your bike can stay tuned.